Hey everybody, it's Dr. Rick dropping in on you. Hope everybody is having a great weekend. I do. No matter what you're doing, whether you're spending time with family, whether you're working, whether you're just chilling and relaxing, I hope that it's everything that you want it to be and more. Look, I'm going to jump right into this. I don't have a whole lot of time, but I had to address this. First and foremost, you know the routine. If you like what you hear or see, click the like button, click the share button, and subscribe. If you believe in the work we do at the Odyssey Project with our programs, our research, our community advocacy, and all that, if you follow me for any time, you know the work I do. You know the depths that I've gone and the time that I've invested. We need your support. We have not even come close to hitting our $5,000 mark, which was supposed to be hit 2 weeks ago. So we definitely need your support. But anyway, let's talk about something that on the surface is a little bit lighter, but when you peel back the layers, has some very intense depth to it. There's a post floating around where someone from something hip hop is talking about the relationship between Rihanna and ASAP Rocky. And the point that they're making is that, quote unquote, Rihanna is one of the richest black women in America and one of the richest black women in the world, with her wealth or her net worth now being established at over $1 billion. And yet she's with a guy that she is far more rich than in ASAP Rocky, and they've been together for a while. They've got kids together, and a bunch of other stuff is thrown out there. And the premise is, and the message is, and it's sent out to black women, that there's nothing wrong with being with a man who makes less than you. And it kind of just throws it out there, and it's very shallow in its presentation. It doesn't explore any of the variances or nuances that are a part of this relationship and the entire dynamic when it comes to income and relationships within the black community. Now, on the surface, let me address this first and foremost. I don't think that the relationship between Rihanna and ASAP Rocky is a great sample because it's an anomaly. It's a situation that basically she's one of, two black women in America that are billionaires. So, I mean, this isn't something you're going to see consistently, because what it does produce, just by the nature of who she is and what she's accomplished, if she is a black woman that is truly committed to her blackness and will only be with a black man, chances are there are only 4 black billionaire males, if I'm correct, 4 or 5 black billionaire males in the U.S. I could be off by 1 or 2 males. And so they are either already involved, or some weird stuff is going on with them, or they aren't the type that you would want to be with, or are too old. If there's such a thing. To some people it isn't. So then that leaves her either being single, going outside of her race, or being involved with a man that doesn't make as much as she does. Now, let's be very clear here in examining this. When we say that he isn't as rich as she is, let's keep in mind that this dude does not work at the Circle K or the Stop and Go or whatever other convenience store names that are chains out there. The dude is probably worth $4 or $5 million or more himself. I mean, it's a drop in the bucket compared to her net worth, but he is not there. And he's a person that has a stature or people are awareness that when you say his name, people know who he is. So he's not some guy that just popped up on the bleep. Not that you have to be a celebrity for this to happen either. But what I want to address are the nuances that fall beneath that are extremely important if we're going to talk about it and be honest about it. First and foremost, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with a black man being with a woman who out-earns him, but he shouldn't be comfortable with it. That's just my opinion. I don't mean it in the sense that he needs to be in competition with her or that he's trying to outperform her. I mean it in the sense that there should be some drive in him just naturally that says, if she's got this going on, I should be able to do something about it, with what I have, and, and connect and work. And number two is they should be working together as a unit to build so that they both are solid and they both can hold it down and they both can contribute. And that's the thing. That's the first thing. The second thing is pay attention to the way that this dude handles her. And obviously there are going to be the cats out there that's going to say he's a simp. There's going to be the cats out there that's going to talk about, well, yeah, if I was connected with a billionaire, I'll be walking around holding her hand, rubbing on her, doing all these things and everything. And the truth of the matter is, I think he's that anyway. I think that's how he ended up sewing her up. I think that's how he got her, is that's who he is. There are people, I'm like that. I am a person, I want you under me. I want to touch you. I want to hold you. I'm going to speak positive to you. Each and every day I'm going to speak something positive into your life. I'm going to manage my tone when I talk to you, not raising my voice, not talking negative to you. That's just simply who I am. And I can speak on that because that's who I am. Now, so there are guys out there like that. So then you have to take into consideration, she didn't just go get anybody. She didn't just go get somebody that's finna lay up on the couch and keep the kids. She got somebody that had, number one, enough status to be within her periphery. So keep that in mind. It ain't like everybody can just walk up and talk to Reed. So with that being said, then you have to sit up and say, okay, there's some things this guy has going on that on the surface, obviously, because we measure everything by money, he doesn't have her bank. But there's obviously some things that he carries in himself. And here's the thing, manhood is more than the commodification that we see. The measuring of the money, the sitting up and, being judged by how much money you have in your bank account, what your annual salary is, and all these things that we judge brothers by, and we lose sight of character, integrity, commitment, loyalty, all the thing, care and concern, the ability and willingness to cover. All of these things are the things that you should be paying attention to. I've watched him with her. I don't know the inner workings of their relationship. I'm not going to pretend I know the inner workings of their relationship. I'm not finna become an apologist for their relationship or for ASAP Rocky. But what I am going to say is that in observing them, there's a level of gentleness, there's a level of concern, there's a level of care. All of the things that she has lacked in previous relationships, which probably trace back to her childhood and a bunch of other things that have gone on with her. There's something that when he brought healing with him. And that's the thing. He seems to have been capable of loving her to a place that she's never been before. And that's the thing you have to look at. So the first thing is, I'm very concerned about anybody that, and I get, and it may have been an innocent post. It may have been a post where a guy's just sick and tired of hearing about, how women say they'll never date anybody that makes less than them. And that's a real challenging thing in Black America. I can see that being the case in white America. I can definitely see that being the case in the Asian community. Why? Because the men in that community have a median income that's significantly higher than the median income for the women. So they traditionally make more. So when a woman has a guy that's making what she's making, she's probably not on par with the cultural connection of where her family comes from, just simply based on that disparity in income. Conversely, within the Black community, Black women make almost the same as Black men, median income. And that's not by accident. That is a construct that is engineered. But you will find that the median income for Black men is roughly around $44,000, for Black women anywhere from $42,000 to $44,000. And so the idea that you can meet a guy that makes less than you is highly more probable within the black community if you're staying within your racial construct than it is in other communities, and that has to be taken into consideration. The thing is, for me, when it comes to me as a man, I have the capacity to earn with anybody. So then what I must look at is, if I come into a space where a woman happens to be making more than me, then I have to look at what she's doing, and I have to ask myself, what am I bringing to the table? I'm never going to be intimidated by a woman that has more than me. I'm never going to be in competition with a woman that has more to me, but I am going to ask, am I becoming an asset or a liability to her? And the goal is to be an asset. If I'm an asset, then I have to ask myself, in what ways will I become better by being with her? Because my goal is to match her or become higher, simply because of the way this social construct is set up. You know, when you are not the breadwinner, the primary breadwinner, and after a certain point in time, when you get to a certain level of money, the whole term primary breadwinner goes by the wayside. When both of you have a net worth over $1 million, no matter where that falls, it stops being a primary breadwinner. You both, you know, have enough loot to live on your own. So at that point in time, it's what you're building. So that's one of the reasons I said that it's probably not a good example, because it doesn't reflect the real, true relationships that are in front of us within the black community. Only 6% of blacks earn 6 figures. So there's a lot of flossing on social media. There's a lot of presenting on social media, but statistics bear out that we have a median, an income median of $44,000, significantly lower for black men and women, significantly lower than our white counterparts. So then that's a place where we have to look at and say, okay, what we're doing now for those high earning women who are making 6 figures. Again, you have to have a certain mindset about how you're approaching things. How much does money matter to you? Because if you're going to judge a person based on whether they make as much or more than you or less, then you probably need to stay in that very, very shallow pool where only a few men are, because it's not that many of us making 6 figures and higher, relatively speaking, in comparison to the entire black male population. So, or you have to sit up and say, well, what is the mindset and the thought process surrounding it, and how do we go from being here to being in a place where he's earning equally or better than me? Because to me, if a man has the will and the drive and there's an opportunity, he will find it, he will seize it, and he will elevate himself. The thing is, for us as black men, we should be elevating and building on our own anyway, even before the dynamic of involving or bringing in a female becomes a part of the equation. We should be focusing and building and challenging ourselves to be better, to be more marketable in our skill development, and so much more, so that we can have a foundation on which we can build and elevate the people in our lives. But on the surface, I don't think that Rihanna and ASAP Rocky is a good example. Celebrities, period, are not good measuring mechanisms when we're talking about society as a whole, the lifestyles they live and the means to which they do it, and so many other dynamics are at play that they don't deal with that we do, and things that they have access to that we don't generally have access to changes the dynamic of the relationship. And so what we must be willing to do is say, okay, on a more realistic level, how does this look? And then we go from there and take it. But hey, we've got work to do. My whole thing is, inherently, it's nothing wrong with it, but as a man, for me, I would feel some kind of way. I mean, not in a way that it would interrupt the relationship, but in the way that I would definitely be driven to get my game up, to move up to the next level. But and the thing is, I understand the whole dynamic. For me to meet a woman who earns more than me, that would have to be something about me already in play that catches her attention. because she's going to be exceptional, extraordinary if she's making more than me. And so where it may not be, you know, that I exceed or excel her in money, I probably exceed and excel her in some other area that is of interest or importance to her. And then I take that and we go in and we start from there. But I'm always going to want to be a person that they look at and say he's at the top of his game. And so again, that's just my take on it. You guys take it for what it is. But on that note, I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. Don't forget, if you believe in the work we're doing, we are far short of our goal we set for a couple of weeks ago, drastically short. So we are asking you to support the work we're doing, and it's an ongoing endeavor. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day.